What's up, expats and travelers alike? I'm Josh with Expats Everywhere.
And I'm Kalie.
And in today's live stream, we're going to talk about Lisbon.
Because we're here.
And it's like seeing it again for the third time.
Yeah, we've been here a lot since we've lived here, and even before we lived here, we traveled here. So different perspectives.
But this time's different. It feels different. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about kind of what we've learned, because we came here with the sole purpose, not of tourism, but of figuring out which neighborhoods are great, talking to people that are living here, talking to locals, and just figuring out what are the best spots to live for you guys. We are super sorry that the image quality is so stinking poor, because we're here in an Airbnb. Two of the lamps that we have don't work. One of them doesn't have a light bulb in it. It's not good. And it's at night, so that we can have the most people possible viewing it. So
Sia's asleep, of course.
That too.
And it's really hard for us to travel with our lights. So we try to travel as light as possible.
No
and
pun
the lights
intended.
they're big and cumbersome. So we did not travel with them.
So hopefully the information's good while the video quality is bad.
Yeah.
All right. So you guys can start popping your questions in the chat, and we'll get to those in a bit. But let's talk a little bit about where we've been, what we're doing in more detail, and what we kind of see as the general vibe of the different spots in Lisbon.
Yeah, so a lot of you guys asked for us to do a neighborhood series on Lisbon like we did in Porto. And it was really tough because it's like, well, we're not in Lisbon. We don't spend as much time there. Obviously, Porto, we know really well. Porto is much smaller. So that was a big thing is, could we do this? So we decided, all right, no one else has done it from what we've seen in video form recently. So let's just go ahead and spend the whole month down in Lisbon, get a feel for the different neighborhoods. So we're moving around a lot. We're staying in the neighborhood that we're reviewing, doing a video on for a certain amount of time, like at least 5 days, so that we can walk around and get a good idea of what it's like before we tell you guys our thoughts and opinions about it.
Yeah, the only difference is the current neighborhood we're in. We got pigeonholed to being here because we needed somewhere to be for 5 nights that would accept the dog, and we're here. We're in like the Bairro Alto area, really. It's Bairro Alto, not Chiado. It's close to Chiado, but it's not Chiado. I would not want to live here.
It's a very lively area.
Yeah. If you're young,
but even still, when you walk around, you see that a lot of these apartments are old, and there's, older women hanging out of the window, like watching and everything. So I think that even the people who live here are older. However, the bar scene is quite big here. So it's not touristy, but I think just nightlife. The nightlife is really good here. So it's quite loud where we are until pretty late, but thankfully the windows aren't too bad. But the apartments are just older as well too. They can't be, you can't have elevators or anything in this area. So it's older for sure.
There's that, but also just the style of civil engineering is older.
This is where I don't get, people say that Porto is hilly, and I'm like, have you been to Lisbon? Lisbon is a whole other thing. And obviously Lisbon is big.
So, well, we can talk about that because we did stay in an area that was much flatter.
Yes. Yeah. It felt more
very nice.
It was like more like Porto though, because Porto has hills obviously, but you'll have like kind of a steady incline for most of the hills, unless you're down in Ribeira by the water, which is where a lot of tourists go. So they think it's quite hilly because you have to go up to get out of the river area. But most of Porto is not like that. It's like a steady uphill. And this place had hills more like that. Bigger sidewalks. It felt a lot more like Porto. It was a good one.
Yeah,
we're gonna review it, so maybe you have to wait and see if we, our ratings.
It's Avenidas Novas. We can say that.
Yeah.
So Avenidas Novas is the name of that neighborhood that is not in the city center, but it is. It's still definitely very much in Lisbon. Very well connected.
Yes.
A lot of metro stops, stations, whatever you want to call it.
And lines. It actually covers
three lines. Yeah. So it's quite good.
Buses. Now, one thing, Maurice, I see that you're on here, and this is one question that you had, is the airplanes that, like, literally every couple minutes you get an airplane that flies over. And we're going to address that in the video, because what's funny is, like, Sia loved it. I mean, she never got old with it. Every single airplane. So as like a parent, you're like, oh look, and you think you kind of just get used to it. But I can see how that would be something that's annoying, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it would certainly be annoying, but it didn't put me off too badly because inside where we were at the hotel, the windows were
Really good, yeah.
well insulated
Mm-hmm.
in terms of noise.
And we know people who live there as well, and they didn't have any issues with their housing. So that's another thing that we're going to talk about in that video, that just making sure that if you are in that area, your housing, it has good, not insulation, but like the windows are thick so you can't hear it when you're inside, you know, and if you're outside walking, it's just an extra noise. But
Yeah. Okay, so to kind of get you guys caught up on things going on with the channel, and for those of you that might watch this on playback or don't even know who the heck we are, you just clicked on the video. We've been living abroad for 13 years, and over the past year and a half, we've been in Portugal. We discovered the D7 visa in terms of how easy / straightforward it is for Americans to get a D7 visa. We wanted to live in Europe again. We used to live in Spain, and we were in Singapore and wanted to move to Europe again, and saw the D7 visa was a huge possibility. So that's kind of what led us here. Now, we're based in Porto. We've been creating a lot of content there and just felt like it was time to be here. So what we're doing here, Kalie already kind of said it, we're exploring the different neighborhoods. But beyond that is we're going to take you guys inside different apartments through this series. We're going to take you inside different apartments, show you how much it costs, show you different companies or services that can also help facilitate your move, help you find accommodations, these types of things. Obviously, those videos take a little more time. They're a little more labor intensive as opposed to just doing a live stream like this. So we hope to give you more or less an overview during this live stream, and obviously answer your questions for sure. We look forward to doing that. And maybe tell you, well, not maybe, but tell you a bit how our opinion is changing of Lisbon.
Of Lisbon, yeah. Yeah, we know that real estate is really important to you guys. And so, and it's been hard for us to be able to get into different places, to work with realtors, just because they're unsure of what we want to do and maybe a bit hesitant the way that real estate works here. So we definitely wanted, while we're here in Lisbon, to work on that so that we can show you guys prices for renting and buying here in Lisbon for those of you who are interested in living here.
Yep. Let's touch on a few questions, because we have some good questions rolling in about Lisbon in particular. So
okay.
Yeah, so we can
get going on that.
Yeah. All right. So boom, this one right here. You want to expand on what areas?
What areas do you plan to cover? Okay, this is actually a really tough one because unlike Porto, Lisbon is massive. So in Porto, we pretty much did the whole area, what would you call it? Like the main metropolitan area that's inside the rings of of the highway.
Yes. I mean, what we did in Porto was we narrowed it down to the 7 most livable neighborhoods. It's not all of the neighborhoods in Porto, like the Porto kind of inner city ring thing, but it was
the way they're broken up. Yeah. Whereas in Lisbon, it's just impossible to do all of them because it's so sprawling.
It's way too many.
So what we did is through a lot of research and a lot of talking with people who live here, we have chosen 5 top neighborhoods for expats to move to actually live in, like livable type places. So like we were saying earlier, where we're staying now would not be a livable place, and not be a place that you would want to live really while you're here. So again,
the area we're in right now, sorry to cut you off, is kind of the Chiado. It's not even really Chiado. Let's just call it Bairro Alto. It's quite close to Bica Funicular Station.
So it's a fun area to hang out in, but you wouldn't want to live here. So do we want to name the 5, or are we going to make them wait for the series to come out?
No. Well, yeah. I think we can name the 5. I think it's okay. I think it's good to build anticipation.
Okay, so our 5, after a lot of research and speaking with people who live here, expats who live here.
Yeah, we won't tell them the order per se.
Right. The 5 that we're doing are Príncipe Real.
Yep.
Right. Avenidas Novas.
Yep.
Campo de Ourique. What else is there?
Parque das Nações.
Nações. Yeah, and Estrela / Lapa, because they're kind of in the same area.
Yep.
So those would be the 5 that we're going to break down for you that we think are very livable as expats, but you have to choose which one would work best for your lifestyle as far as living there. Yeah. So those are the ones that we plan on covering. Okay. that answers that one.
All right, let's keep rolling.
Okay.
Maurice does say that airplanes can be annoying.
Yeah.
Tamara.
Hi guys, careful about what you say about my fabulous city. We're in Avenue Novish and love it. We really
love
liked
it too.
Yeah,
we love it too.
Yeah, that was one thing. I think we've been to Lisbon a lot, and we're like, oh, we're not really Lisbon people, but we like that area.
And another set of friends of ours live there. They love it. We love them.
We love you too, Tamara.
We love you too.
Hi, I was wondering, would you choose Lisbon over most other cities in Portugal? I'm planning my move there by December. Well, for us, we're Porto people.
We are.
Josh is typing some stuff out for you guys.
Yeah, I've got something to say on that as well, but you go ahead first.
Okay. We have loved Porto for a long time. A lot of you guys know that we used to live in Spain, and when we were in Spain, we traveled to Porto several times, which it wasn't very common that we would circle back to places because there's just so much to see in Europe, and that was the first place we lived abroad. So we wanted to see other places, but Porto was actually a place that we went to several times, and we just really liked it and wanted to live there one day. So for us, we prefer Porto. Now we know that it gets cooler. It's a smaller city. There's differences between Porto and Lisbon. There are, now that we've been here, I would say if you asked us this before this trip, we would say, no, we wouldn't live in Lisbon. But it's because of the places in Lisbon that we frequented when we were visiting here. Yep. So now I would say there are a few places that are very livable for our type of lifestyle with a 2-year-old and just kind of what we're looking for. There are places in Lisbon that would work. However, I mean, I guess I'll say we are not moving from Porto to Lisbon. Yeah.
Nah. So one of the big things for me is the cost here compared to Porto. I think the cost here is significantly higher. I mean, obviously you could ball out in Porto for the same price as Lisbon. Your lifestyle might be a bit different on the same price, if that makes sense. But you could certainly spend as much as you do in Lisbon in Porto. But I think for people that are looking at a modest budget, let's say for a couple, 2,500 to 3,000 euros a month, it will go far, far less in Lisbon.
Yeah. And down in the Algarve too.
And I would want to spend more here on like
food
doing stuff.
Options for things. Yeah. I mean, there's still a lot of food options in Porto, but it's also too, once you settle into a place, I think the first couple months you're like trying everything that's new and you spend a lot more money than when you live in a place. You kind of get settled a bit and you can tell what you need to have your budget at.
Okay. To Bernard's question though, about choosing Lisbon over most other cities in Portugal.
I would choose it over anywhere in Algarve. I would say that.
Probably. I mean, would it be in our top 5 places to live? I think so.
Probably, yeah.
I think so. Maybe we'll do a video on that.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's see.
Moving on. Hey guys, do you know how much real estate in around Lisbon have been going up, construction percentage wise? If you guys have any ideas, thanks, Josh and Kalie.
So specifically here, I don't know any hard numbers, but I don't believe that I know it hasn't gone up at the same rate as in other places.
In other cities or other countries?
In other cities in Portugal. Okay. By percentage, it's gone up much more in other places, but that's because they've had room to go up. So here there hasn't been as much room because it's already kind of hitting its peak. Not that it's hitting its peak in that sense, but it's already
high.
Up there.
It starts
it's
high.
Already high.
Yeah.
But it has gone up a bit for sure.
And then like construction and stuff. I don't think that's really gone up. I mean, they're not, well, I don't know. Are they seeing any sort of like shortages? I think other countries have had problems with shipping and stuff. But
yeah, I haven't heard of too many massive issues with supply chain, not beyond what everyone else is experiencing in Europe. Yeah. But
we still have a couple weeks here. And so we're diving more into real estate, especially we're meeting with some realtors and such in the next coming weeks. So we've only done a few on the front end. So we'll hopefully have more info about that later on, at least in our videos and or when we do our next live. Yeah.
You're welcome. Okay. Super chat. Well, actually, it's a super sticker. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Michelle.
Michelle, appreciate it.
If you have a question,
pop it in there. Yeah. We'll get to it. You guys, if you have questions, ask us. We're here.
Eric, can you showcase what it's like to meet up with American expat communities in Lisbon? Ooh, we are actually going to do a meetup. This is a good way to throw that in there. Josh just posted something, I think, today.
I did.
On our Instagram.
I've got it right here.
There we go, on our Instagram. So, yeah, we can highlight that. We're hoping to meet more people who actually live in Lisbon at this meetup, and then we can kind of find out if anyone else is putting these on. Because as a lot of you know, we do this somewhat regularly in Porto. The hope is to do this regularly. So anyone who lives in the city or is even just vacation or scouting at that time can show up and just build their network, build their community, meet people, see if it's a good fit, things like that. So we are having our Lisbon meetup on April 27th at 4:30 at Estrela Garden. The park that's there, there's a little kiosk like what's the name?
Gengibre.
I think there's 2 kiosks in there, but there's one that's right by the playground, which will be good for those with kids. But I think it's Gengibre.
You keep talking. I'll look it up.
Anyway, so 4:30, we are going to be there. Anyone who wants to come, it's open. It's just whatever. We can grab drinks, snacks, whatever's there. You have kids, they can play. Just kind of chatting and hopefully building your community. And then if it does rain, because this is the first time that we've done one of these outside. Normally I try to choose a place in Porto that's got indoor, outdoor, lots of options. But with this one, we thought, okay, weather's been pretty good. Let's go ahead and see if we can do an outside one. But if it does rain or looks like it's going to rain, off and on or whatever, then we'll do it at the Campo de Rique market instead. And so Josh did post that on Instagram, and he's going to continue posting, I think, for a bit, right?
Yep, that's right. And it is Gengibre da Estrela.
It's just a little kiosk with like outdoor seating and stuff right there. So but hopefully we can meet more people and see what the expat community is like in Lisbon, because there's a lot of expats here. I go to the playgrounds with Sia, and I mean I'm hearing Spanish, English, French.
Oh yeah.
Dutch, so
yeah, I don't know why I'm shocked at how much English is being spoken, but it's tremendous. And again, it's a detriment for me trying to learn Portuguese, trying to practice my Portuguese.
It's almost like
it's
there's
very
no
confusing.
point to even start in Portuguese, because you know they speak English. They might not even be a native Portuguese speaker, whoever is working or whoever you're talking to. So that's a tough one too.
Yeah.
I think you just met a lady that worked at the bus station from...
That was in Albufeira. And,
that's right. That was down south.
We were just there today. So that was in...
That'll be another video.
Yeah. So that was in Albufeira. She's from Macedonia. Moldova. Thank you. Moldova. Yeah. But that's a different story.
She is Portuguese. Yeah, that is different.
No, we spoke in Portuguese because she didn't know English, but I preferred speaking in Portuguese.
Yeah. But anyway, in Lisbon, it's just such a mix. So there's a lot of expat communities here.
We've missed the super sticker. Stuff. Give me just a sec so we can get that question pop back up, because I don't know if we fully...
Yeah, he was
answered it about the expat community.
Showcase what it's like to meet up with American expat communities in Lisbon.
Yeah, I mean, I hopefully we're going to showcase it on the 27th.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, that's probably a good idea. Maybe you should video that so we can have like some, I don't know, that's like working. We're trying to, meet people and stuff, but
Evo, not Ginginha. I'll type in the name so everyone has that name, but it's actually inside the park.
Yeah, it's just a little kiosk inside the park. Melissa, thank you, super sticker, thank you. But yeah, we'll hopefully be able to find that out, and maybe if we don't do a video about it, we can talk about it on our next live after we've met with people, because that will be towards the end of our trip. So when we do another live again, we could probably talk about it. All right, Michelle, hello, thank you so much. What'd you do?
Sorry.
Thank you so much for all you do. I have a service dog and need to be near green areas or have a small area, terrace or patio. I found very little in Lisbon, but I really love it. Really, because I feel like I found a decent amount in Lisbon compared to Porto. Definitely compared to Porto.
Michelle, what neighborhood are you in? Because the current neighborhood we're in is awful for green area. However,
Avenida Novas was good.
Avenida Novas was fantastic.
Estrela's got this part, good. So if you can come on the 27th, you'll see that one.
Alcantara is good. Yeah.
Yeah. Príncipe Real has got the Príncipe Real Gardens. It's quite busy, but a lot of people take dogs, and
a lot of people take dogs there, especially the bigger dogs.
Yeah. So that, I mean, it stays pretty busy. So yeah, I've actually found it to be a bit easier with Sia for some of these good parks. This is one complaint I do have about Porto is the green spaces and the enclosed like playgrounds and green spaces. For some reason, like in Porto, they'll have little playgrounds, but they won't have like a fence around them. I don't get it. I'm like, everywhere else in Portugal does. Even the Gaia side does. Lisbon. It's just like, it makes sense. You've got swings, a slide, put a fence around it. You want to keep the kids in, not be able to run, especially when it's right by a busy road. And this is a complaint I have about Porto. I wish that they would do that better. So they have some amazing parks, but in Porto, but they're not as central. I feel like in Lisbon, you can kind of get to them a bit easier. So keep looking and see if you can find anything. But yeah, moving on.
Tamara said she's going to be at the meetup. Woohoo! If you guys are going to be at the meetup, let us know. Type in the comment section. Love to hear that.
Okay. Hi, guys. Congratulations for the channel. Have the Portuguese been treating you well? Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, extremely well. Especially up north.
Yeah.
With our Portuense family.
They are fave.
Yeah. There we go. Antonio knows.
Oh, yeah. The name.
Antonio knows. Yeah, exactly. There it is. Antonio, do you think it's a good place for the meetup? Let us know.
Yeah, the weather's good, hopefully. All right. Shayna, would you suggest Lisbon being the first place someone should visit if they want to figure out if they would move to Portugal or somewhere else? Going with a group in August to check the country out.
Ooh, I love this. I love this question. Oh, we have another super chat. Super sticker, super something. Woo! Thank you very much.
Abby, hi.
Thank you. Okay, so going back to this, I would say, and this is removing our bias because we've actually talked to some other people that live here that said that they feel like Porto is a better landing spot, and the reason is because it's a little less hectic, a little less crowded. You won't get like as lost in the whole tourism side of things and hustle and bustle. People are generally more accommodating and helpful up north. So I would say Porto would be an easy place to land. Braga wouldn't be that bad, but I don't think Braga would give you maybe the best indication of all of Portugal. Really, there's no city I think that you could go to that would be like completely indicative of what other places are going to be like. I think each place has unique aspects about it that make it either livable for you or not.
Yeah.
This is a preference thing we're talking about, but definitely I think most people arriving in Lisbon might feel overwhelmed.
Yeah. There's a lot to explore. And if you don't move around a bunch, then you won't see all the different areas or neighborhoods that Lisbon has to offer. And they are very different. So you might have an idea of this is what Lisbon is, but you've stayed in one area and you're like, I don't like that, or I do like that. And so that's also another thing to kind of consider because it is tough. But I think that Lisbon and Porto would be two good places to check out if you're wanting to check out the country overall, the cities, at least in the country, because they are very different, and it'll give you a different vibe being in Lisbon and then being further north. And then you can branch out from there to something smaller if you want to check out something on the coast or like Coimbra or something. But Algarve too will be a very different experience. It's like not being in Portugal.
Okay, so off the back of that question is this comment. Go ahead and read that.
One advantage of Lisbon is that you're close to everything and very close to magic places like Sintra, Cascais beaches, all the West Coast, etc. This is very true.
Wait, pause. Super sticker. Thank you, Sharon. Appreciate it.
Yes,
very good.
This is true, but it's not super easy to get to those places unless you have a car. So that is something to consider.
But here's the issue. I agree with you, Miguel. I do agree with you. But here's the issue with that is, if your goal is to come over and think, could I live here? For me, those places are a little too much for tourism. Now, Cascais could be an amazing place to live, depending on what your budget is, depending on what lifestyle you're looking for. But I think you could easily get swallowed up with the tourism side of Sintra for sure. We're going to talk about Sintra. We didn't mention that. We are going to talk about Sintra and highlight that as, is it a good place to be a foreigner living long-term, an expat?
And Sintra is a big area, so keep that in mind.
It is.
We'll talk about that in the video
too. It is. It's a municipality, right? So that's what I'd have to say about this comment. But I appreciate the heck out of you saying that, Miguel.
And it all depends too. Like, I mean, if you want to be in a city, like feel like you're in a city, And if you want to have a car, because sometimes when you live in a place, you think, oh, I'm so close to this area, but how often do you go there? I mean, I'm from Florida and I live very close to the beach, but of course it's like, okay, I got a plan going to the beach. I wasn't like on the beach. So it's like, oh, it's still like a 20-30 minute drive, but I've got a plan on I'm going to the beach today.
That's
so
right.
You have to kind of keep that stuff into consideration too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Michelle, I heard that Lisbon was a lot of hilly areas. Thoughts?
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do believe that similar to Porto, it is more in the touristy areas. It is more in the area where you would have your Airbnb, like where that cool Airbnb that you want to stay in, and you see those pictures and it looks amazing, and you've got views of the water, and then you stay there and you're like, why am I surrounded by hills? And maybe you don't venture out to some of the flatter areas because it's, how do I put it? There's less of a draw. There's less of a draw to live out there.
Do there. And there's not much to do there. Like when you're here on a short term type thing.
But the flatter areas, if you live in those on a daily basis, you're going to be loving life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say too that Lisbon has more stairs as well. And obviously I noticed this with a stroller. And there are spots in Porto that do have stairs that are by the river. Now, obviously, since I live there, I know
how to avoid
the ways around, right? But there's far less stairs. Whereas here, it seems like, especially down in the touristy type areas, you are just surrounded by stairs. And there might be like one way out, but every other way has stairs or something like that. There's a lot more stairs here too.
And you know what I'll say about that is it's really charming.
Oh.
It's just not charming when you're pushing a stroller or having to carry a kid.
Yeah.
Who just gets heavier as she consumes pastries.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep rolling.
It's hilly here, I'd say. Yeah.
What is up, Cookmaster?
Happy Easter! Oh yes.
Thank you very much. Happy Easter to you.
Sia. Well, I was telling some friends today. I was maybe not the best mom. Today I was like, we have to go get stuff for Easter for Sia. So I was like, I need you to watch us so I can get stuff.
We went to Flying Tiger.
Flying Tiger for the win. Yeah, they had a lot of cutesy little things. It's tough too when you have a toddler. You're just like, anything will be exciting, but it's like, oh, look at some colorful things and
maybe this is a bit of a pro tip. I don't know. Maybe a lot of you guys out there already know this, but I kind of stored it away in my mind, like all those little knickknacks that most people think I'm going to run to IKEA to get. Yeah. You can get at Flying Tiger.
Oh yeah. Flying Tiger is really good.
Yeah.
And they're normally fairly like big. And so they have a good variety and it's inexpensive.
So like kitchen stuff or little like exercise stuff or art supplies or there's a lot.
Got a little bit of everything
little
there.
Knickknacks, hobbyist
It's
stuff.
A good one. The other one that's good is Ale Hop as well. That's another good one. We try not to get stuff made in China though. And so you got to watch out for some of those little places. They've got a lot of stuff made in China.
Yeah. Trying to get made in Portugal as much as possible.
Yeah.
Okay. Antonio does respond that that kiosk is a good one.
Should have. Yeah, plenty of room.
That's good.
It's the hope.
We get another Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Thank
yes.
you,
Yep. So I'm gonna do a little basket for Sia tomorrow and a little Easter egg hunt. She likes to search for things and put them in like baskets and stuff.
Okay, so we have a comment on where she's going. So
okay, planning to visit Lisbon, Évora, Coimbra, Aveiro, Porto, and Braga. Most of the time we'll be in Porto, so this sounds like great advice.
Holler at us.
And those are all very different places, so that'll give you a really good idea of what you like and don't like. So that'll be good.
I think that that's a great list for anybody who would want to get a broad idea of what Portugal's like.
And not be interested in Algarve.
And not be interested in Algarve. Mm-hmm. Correct.
Since you don't have any of those on your list.
Yep.
Hi, guys. So nice to know you're in my city. You should also consider the neighborhoods of Alvalade and Benfica. Benfica. Yeah, we were thinking about that one. They're quite family oriented with lots of green spaces, schools, shops, and hospitals.
Yep, 100%. They were places that we looked at. We just it's time. Just don't have time. You know, we want to give enough time to the neighborhoods that we need to highlight. So with 5 neighborhoods, that's actually like a lot.
And we went to Sintra as well. We stayed there for a little bit to do a city guide on Sintra.
Yeah.
So it is a lot. And so maybe at some point we'll come back down and do some more.
Yep.
But those will be our 5 for now.
It's a great shout though.
Yeah.
Those caught our eye for sure.
And if you do have a family or you're looking for green spaces, schools, hospitals, I know a lot of people ask us about that. Here are 2 good options for you guys.
And come to the meetup.
And come to the meetup.
Yep.
Yeah. Super sticker. Thanks, Veronica.
Super stickers have been popular. It's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm lost. Here we go. Boom. is about transit.
How does mass transit in Lisbon compare to Porto?
Okay, Lisbon is much, much larger. It needs to cover more area than Porto.
They use their trams a lot more.
Yeah. I would say, in a sense, that Porto's is more efficient, maybe. But that's really downtown, isn't it? Like in the city center, where almost every line passes by like the same series of stops, so you never have to wait that long for a train.
That's true. That's something I don't get in Porto, is like a couple of the lines, like they are literally going the same direction for quite a while in the center area until they branch off to their different spots. So there are some places that the metro could service in Porto a little better, but they're building the pink line, which is getting to some of those places.
I was going to say that as well. So in Porto, there is a line that's going to pass through, that's going to connect an area that hasn't been connected before.
Which would be so good, the Crystal Palace Gardens. I feel like they're so far away from us, and now we can take the metro almost there once it's ready.
I think probably the biggest complaint that you'll hear about Lisbon mass transit has to do with buses. So with the frequency of buses and just how long it can take to get from point A to point B, if you need to take a bus as opposed to taking metro.
Because the traffic, traffic here is insane.
Well, just traffic and how infrequent it is.
Too.
Yeah.
But in Porto, I call it the trolley in Porto. They call it tram here. It only is like along the water area. Whereas here, the trolley or tram could be a way that you actually get places. It's touristy as well, but sometimes it's the most direct route for public transportation. But Lisbon is just so much bigger than Porto. That's another thing.
I'm confused at this. That is not true. Direct trains to Cascais.
Oh, because I said something about needing a car. Yeah, you could take the train. Yeah.
Yeah, you could. But I think the thing is, like, if you're wanting to explore the area, then it's much more difficult.
Because if you took a train to Sintra, then you could walk, the area, like some of the little downtown type area. But if you want to go up to the castles,
you catch a tuk-tuk.
You tuk-tuk, or they do have that public bus.
Or the public bus. Yeah.
And then parking there is crazy too. And then Cascais, you could take the train. But that's another thing too, is you have to take a metro or train down to the one train all the way in the south that heads over there.
Yeah.
As opposed to, like, if you're in Tamara Avenidas Novas, I don't think there's a direct train for you to Cascais. I think you'd have to head south and then head west, right? Is what I would think. But so it's doable. Of course, it's doable if you want to do that.
It's very time consuming.
It's time consuming.
I think depending on what your goal is, you might as well just take Uber or Bolt.
Yeah.
Just price compare Uber and Bolt, and then get out to Estoril, Cascais, Sintra. Yeah. Sintra. Yeah. Okay, let's keep rolling.
That is not true, Tamara. I know you love Lisbon. We're not hating on Lisbon. We're just saying.
No. That's not a complaint at all.
No. Car-wise too, like I would not want to have a car in Lisbon anyway. Like, traffic's crazy. Parking looks crazy. Eric would love calmer areas, but hospital, schools, and walkability will be our biggest factors. So maybe some of those places that were mentioned before, Benfica, for hospital, schools, and parks and everything. Though Lisbon does have that.
For sure. Well, schools, I think Lisbon's the best.
It's better.
If you're talking about international schools,
there's more
it's the
here.
Best. Mm-hmm. There's no question.
Some of them are in places where it would be better to have a car, though. Actually, Sintra's got a couple good international schools up there, but you need a car, which is fine. Sometimes when you have kids anyway, the car is just an easier route, or you just get used to doing Uber or Bolt. But there's definitely places in Lisbon where you have that. Same in Porto, but school-wise, Lisbon is better.
Yeah.
Michael, I heard that Porto was the most awesome city to live and has all the cool people. Thoughts?
I mean, I don't know if it has all the cool people, but it has a lot of cool people that we care a lot about. So Michael knows this. He's a good friend of ours. What are your thoughts about awesome city to live? And
I would say the people just seem so different compared to Lisbon and Porto.
We're talking about locals, like Portuguese or both.
I would say people who live, so even expats, but like people who live in Porto as expats or locals compared to people who live in Lisbon as expats or locals.
Yeah. So let me touch on that real quick. I think the people that we've bumped into that live here that are foreigners tend to have jobs that have brought them specifically to Lisbon.
Mm,
So that's a huge difference.
That's
We
different, yeah.
don't often run into foreigners that are in Porto that have moved to Porto with their job,
that's true.
right?
Yeah, normally they come on the D7 or remote work, something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Retiring remote work. So maybe Porto has less opportunities for your job to move you over there as opposed to here.
Still cool people.
Yeah, there's cool people in both. Leonardo moved to Mafra, Ericeira, 1 hour north of Lisbon. Tops, lots of surf to be had. That's a good option too. We actually do know of someone who lives in, how did he say it? Ericeira?
Yeah.
They have a car though.
Yeah.
So it depends. But
Okay.
they bought a place there.
Let's pop over still to this mass transit debate. Mass transit.
It's Tamara again.
Okay. So I'm not saying that either is for the win. I think they're completely different. So what's your argument that Lisbon is for the win? That's what I want to know. The difference for me is that the sheer size of the two cities makes their mass transit very, very different. I tend to lean towards the efficiencies of Porto's metro, but again, it has much less ground to cover. It's much newer. Yeah, so the wait times are less. It's cleaner. It feels nicer.
Well, even today we went into the train, and the line to get tickets was massive. This was for the automatic machine. Never seen a line like that in Porto, even for football matches. Is in the touristy areas, I guess, of Porto, which is down by the river, there is no metro. So you do have to walk from there, or you get the funicular. But I have never seen massive lines like I did today, just trying to get tickets at the ticket machine, even at Porto games.
Okay, let's keep rolling.
Honeymoon always.
This is funny.
Hey guys, do you know any good people to watch my dog?
Well, if you guys had a dog, so Honeymoon Always is great at watching dogs.
Yeah. Yeah, they watched Pincho for a little bit. I don't know if you guys saw their Instagram, but they posted that they were watching Pincho when we had to head down to Algarve to do a video down there for a little bit, and they watched Pincho while we did that. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
So Dan and Michelle are awesome. They took care of Pincho and are gonna take care of us in a few days. And we're gonna do a couple fun videos, I think, with them. Yeah. At least one, but hopefully much more.
Yeah. Okay. You guys are funny.
Oh, okay. So I'm catching up on Tamara's comments.
Buses. Okay.
Yeah.
I think,
and we don't take buses much in Porto either. So I think buses in Porto
they're not as frequent as well. The metro is definitely better. But I have taken them. It's hard with the stroller. That's the thing. If I'm by myself, someone normally has to help me get in. But people offer to help get in, which is nice.
Yeah. And then we're just kind of chatting about now trains and buses.
The debate.
This should have been titled Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Yeah.
So yeah, we're all the Porto people defending the Porto metro and buses.
Yeah.
People from Lisbon agree that Porto is the best. We must say that, so those poor souls feel better about themselves. Oh, that's funny. That is funny. We have a lot of people in Lisbon apparently, so hope to see you all at the meetup.
It'd be a lot of fun if you guys show up. Again, if you're going to show up, hit yes in the comments so we can get ahead.
Or the like button, right?
Yeah, that hitchhiker's
we struggle with buses too. And there's no telling about buses. Well, actually show up.
Oh man.
I think that happens, right? Okay, we're still talking about. We're gonna continue to talk about all the.
Okay, go ahead. I mean, it was a comment on the comparison.
Yeah.
No, it was a different. Read it.
With mass transit in Lisbon, it really depends on where you live, to what other places you have access to. Where I think Porto is easier to access overall.
That's my general. Take on it as well. But again, I go back to just the size.
The size, different. Yeah.
So I don't know if that's Dan or Michelle commenting on that, but
and it depends too. Like in Lisbon, where you're going. So for example, Avenida Nova has loads of metro stops that are either in it or around. It's a great, well-connected place, whereas Campo de Ourique is not well-connected. There's actually no metros out there. So then you are forced to do the bus or the tram. 2 tram stops go up there. So I think it also does depend on where you are. Yes, the meetup.
But you know, like Miragaia in Porto is that same way, where it's kind of there's this black hole of.
But isn't that outside
metro.
of Porto, really? Miragaia?
No. It's north of
That highway ring.
No.
Covello.
No, you're thinking of Maya.
Oh.
It's north of oh my gosh, my brain isn't working. Anyways, it's near Ribeira, but not really. Anyways.
You just clicked on that.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Is it possible to find standalone homes for rent in Lisbon? Trying to think of the areas that I think yes, but not anywhere down in like the really central
because
part of Lisbon.
Everything's mainly apartment buildings.
Further north and west. Yeah. Apartments are more popular for sure.
Oh, we have some information on like a doggy daycare. Do you remember the name of that company?
Oh, I started with an F. Where was
How about okay, we're gonna find the name of this company because we kept one of their flyers. And we'll pop that in the description section of the video. So if anybody needs a doggy daycare, then we'll pop that in there.
I have it right over there. Okay. Yes, and we know of Expat who has started a business as well. So
but not in Lisbon, but
I think that they travel. So you can always message us for that. I love Lisbon. I'm hoping to move there this year, spending 3 weeks there this summer. Woohoo! That'll be good. Our feet is the best mode of transportation for both cities, Porto and Lisbon. Bikes look good too, but I haven't tried yet.
I completely agree. And, you know, bikes are something that we don't touch on much, but we're trying to do a better job in our upcoming videos of talking about alternative means of transportation apart from cars, walking, and mass transit. So things like buses, things like bikes or scooters. Yeah.
Now, I would say when we were in Avenidas Novas, they have great bike lanes, and that's something that you don't get in Porto. Bike lanes, bike lights, and that's not something that we see down in where we are now here in Lisbon. So I think in some areas it's really good with the bike lanes. Porto doesn't have that stuff. Also, Avenidas Novas had where you could rent the bikes the same way that you do like the e-scooters. So Porto does have that, but I don't see as many bikes around in the touristy areas here of Lisbon, but I do see e-scooters. Okay, here is the Festo. Festo asking for, we'll put it in the description after this.
Yeah.
But yeah, we actually saw them. We were out with Sia.
We don't have any affiliate links, but on here it says, you have to present this actual flyer
by February 28th.
Oh my gosh.
And we saw them.
And we saw them a few days ago.
Yeah.
Anyways.
They had a bunch of dogs at a dog park near where we had Sia playing at the playground, not the dog park.
Angel, fly over and meet up with us. You're an angel. You can do it. You got it.
Yeah. You can do this. Okay. How well have you been able to get around with Sia's stroller from an accessibility viewpoint?
Okay. So where we are right now, we have not taken the stroller out at all. Dan and Michelle can attest to the fact that I carried it. So I had to lug it around. Where's my hand? Just lug it around.
Yeah, it's not easy. There's only one way out where we are that doesn't have stairs, and it's the hill is so you have to walk on the road though. So
for handicapped folks, for people with young kids, no. Bad area.
I would
down by the water, flat. Fine. Avenidas Novas, fine.
I think we haven't been there yet, but what is it? Parque de Nações is supposed to be
flatter.
Flat.
Flat. Yeah.
Walkable. I would say something I noticed actually not this time, but last time we were in Lisbon is that to ride the metro, there are plenty of metro stops that don't have elevators, but they have stairs. So for someone with a stroller or who is in a wheelchair, you have no option. They have one of those little, I think, like wheelchair things, but supposedly you're supposed to book it ahead of time so that someone's actually there, because some of these stations are a little smaller too. So they don't have workers that are actually there. Whereas Porto, I don't think I've ever been in a metro station that doesn't have an elevator.
Yeah.
So I think that it's just a little more accessible for those who might be in a wheelchair or have strollers.
Yeah.
Okay, hi guys. I was wondering why Arioros. Arioros.
Uh-huh.
Sorry,
I
spelling.
know what you're
And
talking about.
Saldana did not make it list in 5 places you guys are covering. I've heard they're great family areas about 2 years ago. Has that changed?
Okay, so the Saldana area is one that is kind of wrapped up in Avenidas Novas.
It's kind of right on the border.
It's on the border. So
same with the other one too.
it's pretty
They're really close.
similar. They're close. It's good.
So we just chose Avenidas Novas because well, you'll see in the video because of some stuff that's there, but these are just to the east of it, and they are very, very similar. So.
Yeah. So let me say this: like, you have the denomination, the name Freguesia, which is very official. There's like very defined borders, and then you have the neighborhoods or the boroughs or bairros that are a little more kind of like blurred lines, gray lines, whatever you want to call it. I mean, if you go on Google Map, you'll see a defined border, and for the purposes of our videos, we tried to stick to that border. However, if you ask people and if you see the names of shops and things like that, the name of a shop might not actually be the name of that neighborhood.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I hope that does. So Saldana for sure
was right. We actually were there.
Yeah.
Especially that metro
runs
into it. Yeah. And then the other one is just a little further east. So they're very close. So I would say nothing's changed for that. We will also match the 5%. Are you guys starting a dog service?
Yeah. Are you legitimately starting a dog service? If so, we will write your first review.
Yeah, I will. I will write a review for you.
Oh man, that's too funny.
Yeah, the dog service. Okay, Miguel, I'm from Lisbon, where I lived for 44 years. In Portuguese in the north, Porto, etc., are generally speaking usually warmer and welcoming people. This decreases as you go south.
Yeah,
this is something
I completely agree. Yeah. It's like the type of people that you come across in the U.S. just flipped.
Oh yeah, it's like the north and south on the East Coast.
Yeah, on the East Coast, Southern people are known for being warm, hospitable. They might talk behind your back bad about you, and then the
North are a little more abrasive.
A little more abrasive.
Yeah. So it is the opposite. This is something that we've always said that we found as well. We do understand that Lisbon is a big metropolitan city, and in cities you just have people who are just on the go more. They're not interested. I mean, you get that like if you go to New York City in the US, like that's not a good representation of how people are in the US, because big city people don't have time. They're on the go. They're bumping into you, things like that. So we do understand that Lisbon is a city, but people as a whole, I think, just tend to be nicer, slower paced in the north. And we do like that as well.
We do like that. And a little bit cheaper.
Which Josh loves.
Okay, so that answer made sense. Fantastic. And Robert and
hi.
Riley say hello. Yeah. What's up, guys? Yeah. We enjoyed hanging out with you all in Porto.
I love all the references to my area.
Listen, there is honestly nothing not to love about Avenidas Novas.
It was a good area. As soon as we got there, I was like, this just has a different feeling. I really like it. There's something about the bigger sidewalks and just flatter, a little more comfortable, just livable. I mean, there were a lot of people with walking dogs, and it just felt good to live in. Whereas when you come down to the water in Lisbon, or even where we are right now, it's just so crazy. Okay, so Josh is posting that in about
one last plug for the Lisbon Meetup. It's going to be in about a week's time, week and a half, April 27th, 4:30 p.m. Estrela Garden at Gengibre. Let me just pop this in, the Estrela. And if it rains, then we'll be at Campo de Ourique Market, Mercado do Campo de Ourique. Yes.
Hope to see you guys there.
Yes. Okay.
We winding down here?
Yeah, we absolutely are. Love you guys. We thank you that we had so many questions about Lisbon, and well, we talked a little bit about Porto to make that comparison. Because that's just what we do. So we appreciate it. I'm just popping these up.
I know.
Thank you guys so much. On your way out, if you hit that like button, much love. See you guys on the 27th.
Hopefully, yeah.
Now let's get moving.
Bye.
Bye. Let me find that in broadcast button.